when we moved into this home, we were pretty excited to have a wood burning stove as a feature, but as you can see, it's very plain and ordinary. The stove is actually on the concrete of the slab of the house. So I'm going to be working with some walnut slabs that I brought all the way from Kansas to make an angle mantle. And then that's going to be part one. And then in another video, part two, will be where we actually create our hearthstone area on the floor and possibly up the walls. So let's get out to the shed and take a look at the slabs that I have available. Yeah, so I pulled out the three biggest slabs that I had, and when I say slabs, these were entire trees. They were small walnut trees, but I brought these all the way from Kansas, and hopefully for good reason. These two are the same thickness, so I think I'm going to go with these. As with any wood drying outside, there's a little bit of bow that I'm going to have to deal with, but I did figure out that I'm going to take each one of these is going to be about 54 inches, so I'll move these in here, try to find the best 54 inches. And then I'm also going to use whatever's left over. I'm going to use that walnut to make wooden brackets that go on the wall that hold these mantles up. So on this piece right here, I've got a major bow that starts about right where this knot hole is. So I'm actually going to measure. I'm going to lose a little bit of the width because I can't use this large part right here. But I'm going to just start down here and measure from the end. And I'm going to measure longer than 54 inches because I've got to make a 45 angle degree cut, and I want to have some room to make some mistakes. So I'm actually going to take this one probably out to 60. And on this board here, I've got kind of a gouge back over here that I don't want to have to sand out or plane down. So I'm going to start inside of that, and then a little bit of a bow on this side. So I think clamp it down here, and then use our skill saw to zip it off. So this piece here that I cut off, I will most likely be using this to make the bracket footings for the mantles. So we'll save that. Before I run this thing through the planer, I need to kind of grind down all these knobs just to make sure that nothing catches. For that, I'm going to be using my cut saw, which is absolutely awesome for taking down edges really fast and really aggressive. Now, one of the things that I did not mention before is I'm leaving these kind of rough, right? I'm not going to fill the holes with epoxy. These bumps, I'm actually going to leave those on here for character. So I just want to generally just get those sharp edges off and kind of get all this, when I took the bark off, just get all the extra little bark pieces off. So this will be kind of quick and dirty. I actually have another video where I made an entirely different mantle out of cedar, and that was one of my first videos that I made. So be sure to check that one down in the description. It's worth a watch. It's a pretty quick watch. So, all right, let me get this finished up, and then we'll move on to the next one. Now, if you watch this channel very much, you might notice that I just created a video on BORA sawhorses that I picked up. That's also linked down in the description. You might be wondering, why am I not using those sawhorses? Well, while I'm doing this project my wife's also working on another little project. Let's just take a look. That's where my sawhorses are. I'm using this crappy table while paint is drying. All right, back to the fun. Hopefully you can see how just beautiful this wood is. Here's the rough side, and then here's what it looks like when it comes out of the planer. Like, it's just gorgeous wood. That actually worked really well. Hopefully you can see this walnut is just amazingly beautiful. The figuring in here is awesome. I have a nice little knot hole here for character. I've got a few dips in here that I'm just not going to get out unless I really start taking this thing down more. So I'm going to let the sandpaper hit that and just be a rough spot on the mantle. I mean, it won't be rough, but it'll be a little bit of a dip, which is fine. Like I said, we're really having some nice character on a mantle is great. It's not fine furniture. That's one of the cool things about just working with big chunks of wood is it doesn't have to be perfect. Now plugged in. When you're doing really deep cuts, go ahead and make it half the depth first, cut through, and then make your final depth, and then cut back through. There's just something extremely satisfying about vacuuming up sawdust. Shh, don't tell my wife. The whole time I was cutting these blocks out and tracing them out, I was really trying to figure out, well, how exactly am I going to cut this curve? I'm going to use my jigsaw. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill holes along here, helper holes, and then hopefully my jigsaw can kind of take care of the rest. This is gonna take a while. Okay, so after drilling holes and then using my jigsaw, that's what I got. So I think I can clear this up with my sander. And it's not terrible. It's actually much better than I thought it would be. So that's one. I'm going to do the other three and we'll go from there. Clearly where I drill the holes is visible. Now I could spend a ton of time going here and here trying to sand all these down, but they kind of look decorative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand off the edges here and here, sand off those lines, and then just leave it as some texture. We'll see how it goes. I ended up running out of battery on my phone, but we got these cut at a 45-degree angle. Made sure to label each one so that we know which wall it goes on. We did get the brackets installed already, and now we're trying to beat the rain. So it's getting a little dark on us. For these, we're actually going to be using a polyacrylic, water-based polyacrylic. I've just finished up the second coat of water-based poly. I like to use these sponge brushes. They do a really good job of helping you keep a wet edge as you move along. And from here, we'll be, once these dry, we'll take these inside and set them up on the brackets, put them in place. So I've got the shelves up, got a little bit of play here in the difference of size on the ends, so I'll end up adding some shims under here to level everything out and add the screws.